Free time commonly you do much more work. That's a sacrifice which you have given to the public life.
Being a super cop is not a great thing. Being a friendly cop is a better thing.
You're obviously a vegetarian. We have heard that you have a sweet tooth.
I'm typical Desi person. First priority, I would say Golgappa, typical Indian street food. We take pakhal regularly, but not pakhal that way, not that watery. Food wise, I am a converted Odia now. હું ઓડિયા કેવળ કહું નહીં, હું ઓડિયા પડી બી પારું છું.
ઓ વાહ, બસ ઇતના હી. વાહ, આપણો લાસ્ટ લાઈન આપણે ખાલી છે.
એ સ્ટેટમાં તેતે દે છે ને મને કોણ મને એટલે તો જેતે કહીલે મને કમ હબો. હું જીવନରେ કેବେ ભાવી નଥିଲି કે એતે ମୋତେ સ્નેહ સન્માન મળ્યો.
But this is also a job. I realize that if you don't speak to your fans.
But then you are Sanu Ratho. How can I say no to you?
Thank you so much. Actually, and we are discussing your different roles as a person who has been managing road safety, electricity, buses, and of course controlling crime. It's a difficult question. It may put you in a dilemma. Which would you think has been the most satisfying?
Okay, you said buses,
transport, road safety also becomes part
electricity
of
and policing and road safety. Okay, so of course I have loved all my jobs wherever I have worked, and I'm very happy about all the roles. But I think road safety will come closest to my heart. You know, so many people are dying on roads, and most of them can be saved. We could save them. Every year, about 5,300 people die in Odisha because of accidents. And you know, we call them accident. हिंदी में और उड़िया में बोलते हैं दुर्घटना, अनहोनी. वो अनहोनी नहीं है. Word wise it is अनहोनी, but actually if you are not keeping the road in a proper shape, you are over speeding, you are doing drunken driving, you are doing so many nonsense on road, तो वो अनहोनी नहीं है, वो होनी है. मतलब वो होगा ही होगा. Like if you are hitting, you are doing something like this, then you are not wearing helmet, then you cannot say कि वो दुर्घटना हो गया. दुर्घटना नहीं है वो, you have invited this. So these days I am very passionately working on road safety. So I will say that road safety is something which I think it's about saving human lives. It's about saving human lives. Crime, as I told you, some crime has taken place, and now we are trying to bring the culprits to justice. That's that kind of thing. Buses, transport, of course, giving service to people, helping people in their mobility. Electricity, same. But if you put all these things together, then road safety is the top priority, because it is about human lives. It is about saving lives. Directly saving lives. Now we are losing 5,300 people in Odisha, maybe 1,50,000 people in India every year. So if we are able to bring down this number to zero, of course that's the ideal thing, but if it doesn't come to zero also, if we are able to bring it down say by 20-30%, I'll be...
So many lives saved and so many families also
if you are
saved at the same time.
Like from 5,300, if you are able to bring down to 4,000, 3,000, then you have done your job. And हम तो बोलते हैं धर्म का काम है. मतलब and one thing I tell my team many times, that if you are working in a bank or something, or in any other profession, you do your job, and then for your spiritual quest you go to temple. आप कोई मंदिर जाता है, कोई मस्जिद जाता है, कोई पूजा करता है, कोई माला फिरता है, जो भी आपको सेटिस्फाई करता है. I tell them that there are very few jobs which are giving you a chance to serve the humanity. मतलब आप नौकरी भी कर रहे हो, आपको सैलरी भी मिल रहा है, और आप धर्म भी कर रहे हो. So road safety is something कि you are doing a job, you are getting a salary, and you are able to bring down 5,300 to 4,000, तो आपने धर्म भी किया ना, वो धर्म भी है, तो धर्म का काम भी कर रहे हो. मतलब you are earning पुण्य, right? आपको पुण्य भी हो रहा है, and you are also doing your job also. So how many people get such an opportunity कि आपको नौकरी करते हुए भी आपको, you don't need to go to temple, I tell them. You don't need to go to temple. If you are able to save 400 people, 500 people by road safety, then you have done your dharma.
I must also mention to our audience that Shri Bothra also has this amazing creativity, and he has used this for awareness, and for the first time there has been a national road safety film festival which got a lot of applause from across the country, and we had a lot of people joining in. So the filmmakers themselves, the people who have been affected, and I think that's going to be a long journey ahead, but you started with great intent and it's happened in Odisha, so that makes a big difference. Maybe the first of its kind.
Again that Sindhia thing, actually I am the leader, so the credit goes to me, but otherwise it was our creative team. Manas, Manaswini, all these people, they have done fabulous job.
Absolutely.
मेरा काम है कि उनको थोड़ा सपोर्ट करना, but it's not my thing, it's actually their thing.
As a professional in police, whatever duties have been assigned to you after you joined the IPS, you've done wonderfully well and people applauded whatever work you've done. But beyond this, especially during the time of COVID when everybody was suffering, you got out of the regular profession and created an amazing volunteer base and people who really came back to you and asked for help. And we all know about the camel milk case, which actually affected a few people in a positive way but gave hopes to a lot of people. And that's how I think India Cares and Promise Bank started, which was your initiative. And as you said, you have been the leader and you have a huge team of volunteers which have helped you during those times. So now that you're getting more professionally occupied, how do you manage this, and would you need support from the general public to take this forward? Because you've done a great job in starting it and obviously you need support.
Yeah, India Case has been a phase or part of my life which was never imagined, never planned. It came spontaneously. I actually say that maybe God wanted something like this and it came through me. Like, not that I created, it got created through me, something like that. It was this COVID thing came very suddenly, as all of us we know, and by chance I was active on Twitter, otherwise also, and I was helping people in whatever way, small things, changing bus timing and all. So maybe some people, what actually happened that some people started tagging me, asking me for some help, like that camel milk thing particularly. Now, and again by chance, by luck, I was little free those days because I was heading a bus company, and because of lockdown, buses were not moving. So it's already lockdown, buses are not moving, my operation is zero. So what do? I was just sitting idle. If I was in, maybe if I was in regular policing those days, then I would not have been able to do this thing. But because I was free, relatively free, I would say, so people started asking me for something, some ration, some medicine, and particularly, this lockdown was very sudden, first lockdown.
Yeah, happened in 3-4
so
days.
People got stuck in various places. So they needed to go back to their families, they needed to move some the medicine or something, sometimes dead bodies also. Somebody has died in Tamil Nadu now, the body, the family needs to bring the body to the native place. So people started asking me passes, like police pass, if you can tell somebody. And I thought, okay, if there's some genuine case, what's wrong about it? If I make a phone call to my batchmate or my friend or somebody, the dead body stuck in Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore, I remember, particular case, and it was supposed to come to Kendrapada or Jajpur. I said, can we help? So that is how it started. And there was no plan like that to have an NGO or a digital platform. But then, when people were asking for help, say, some people started telling me that, can we also join you? Like, you are helping so many people, can we also chip in? I said, okay, give me your number, if required, I'll ask you. And then somebody suggested that, why don't we make a platform, digital platform? Somebody suggested that let's keep the name, some name, then India Case name. I think Manaswini gave the name. Manas and his team created the logo. So things came naturally, spontaneously. It was not my plan or my design or my thought that which gave this. Now once things started moving, then I was also surprised and overwhelmed by the number of people joining us. At one point of time, we had about 4,200 volunteers across India, even outside India, and these people did amazing job. Means things which were impossible. Like I remember one team of boys, bikers, taking a particular medicine from Bangalore and driving all the way by bikes, all the way to Chennai to deliver that medicine to a child, for a child. So that kind of, and many more things, you know that. A lot of things happened during those days. So it was very, very fulfilling and amazing experience for all of us. Maybe I like to help people. That's my inner, maybe my nature, I can say. That helped. But overall, yes, it has done really well, and I think that when I talk about police image, so that also helped me in my larger thing, that the image of police or police officers in this country should change, not by some cosmetic changes, but they should actually be approachable, humble, helpful, polite, and more humane than that Supercop.
That the police thing should not stick to you.
That should not be Supercop kind of thing. You should be a friendly cop. Being a Supercop is not a great thing. Being a friendly cop is a better thing. I'll put it like that.
Absolutely, and that innings was so helpful to the whole country,
yes.
And I'm sure you're still continuing, and your team is.
One thing I would like to add here, one good thing about India case is that, which helped me, because I knew from the beginning that money brings a lot of problems. So we decided from the day one, 3-4 things. Number one, we will not take any donations. We will not take money directly to us. We will not have any bank account. We will not have a structure. We will not have a kind of a hierarchy and structure. And there will be no president, secretary, that kind of thing. And we will not have a registration. So there is, the rules, regulations, and the money and the auditing, that doesn't affect us. We will simply keep it fluid, democratic. I am a volunteer, others are also volunteers, something like that. So that particular unique model
also worked.
That also helped us. That helped us, because I remember one person, he some senior person, political person, he one day wrote a message on Twitter that I will file an RTI against you people and ask for your 3 years bank accounts, that how much donation India Cares has collected.
And that bank account was not there.
So I said, man, we do not have a bank account. We don't have any donation. You are free to do whatever, but because we are not taking any donation, but you go and do the audit, no problem. So because once you are clean and the only thing which is helping us even now moving is, of course, volunteers and the credibility and transparency. People believe, I am very happy about this, people believe that there is a group of people who are credible, who are honest, who are genuine. So that is one thing we have earned in last 2-3 years, which is really amazing thing. Helpful.
It's an excellent thing, and itself is as an organization and people around it have created an inspiration for other people.
Many people ask me that, sir, isko register kara lijiye, let's have a registration and let's do it in a formal manner. I said there are thousands of organizations which are registered and doing it formally. Let's have a different kind of model. Let's do it like that. चल रहा है तो क्यों परेशान होना है?
जी, of course we've been talking about your professional and your social work. Little bit coming back to your personal life, not very personal, but something which a lot of your fan following and friends and well-wishers who would not know. You're obviously a vegetarian, but you like your food, and we have heard that you have a sweet tooth. So what would be your favorite dish from Rajasthan? And we'll come back to Odisha. There have been a lot of cultural differences we must have faced when you came from Rajasthan.
Yeah, a lot.
So a little about that. How did you manage the cultural changes and food?
Yes, okay. I never thought about it honestly. Let me tell you honestly. Like anybody else, I also like sweets. Most of the people like sweets. I also like sweets, but nothing in particular, I would say. Rather, I am a person who is more into kind of chili.
Okay.
One thing which I like, maybe people might laugh at it, is bhujia. Bikaneri bhujia, because I come from that side. Bhujia is something I really like, and then spicy pakoda and all those things. About my food, I am typical desi person. Though of course I take Chinese, I take Mexican, I take all kinds of food, all kind of vegetarian food, of course.
Mexican is the spicy types.
The spicy. Italian, continental. I take everything. Not that I don't take. But if you ask me, which will be my first priority, I would say golgappa,
Okay.
chaat. The typical Indian street food. Maybe South Indian dosa, idli, and all these things. I'll have. That's my priority. And sweets, of course, I like. Now coming to the second part, which is very important. When I came to Odisha, honestly, it was a cultural shock. It was a cultural shock. I remember initial days, Bhubaneswar was not that developed those days. And Cuttack was still smaller place. So I used to find it very difficult to find a vegetarian restaurant. There was no vegetarian restaurant, so there was only one or two.
Vyanjan was then.
Vyanjan was the only one I remember, that Cuttack Naya Sadak wala. There was no other vegetarian restaurant. In Rajasthan, you will find a lot of veg places. So here, of course, the non-veg is more prevalent. But over a period of time, now you will be surprised to know, every third or fourth day, we have Odia food at our place. We have this.
What's your favorite?
Okay, I'll tell you. There are a lot of things. Badi chura, your dahi bangan. We take pakhal regularly, but not pakhal that way, not that watery.
Not watery.
We take little less water.
More curd.
More curd, wala, the kind of curd rice kind of thing. That's very regular. In fact, today morning I had this aloo bharta and tomato puda,
Right.
and all this rai, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, ambolo rai.
Ambolo rai. Right.
So all those vegetarian things, and I am very happy. In fact, every third, fourth day we say that okay, let's have Odia food, and it's amazing. And because of the environment, the weather here, that is more suitable.
Conducive to this.
Because in our state, Rajasthan, you have more ghee.
And dry
Lot of
food,
ghee and lot of chili.
Right.
So though I love chili and spicy food, but after coming here now I am having this, the santula.
Santula, exactly.
Almost
It's a health food.
Health food. Almost no chili, no spice, nothing, and it's very tasty,
all
very
the
spicy.
vegetables.
So I am now almost food wise I am converted. I am a converted Odia now.
That happens. Of course, pickles is something. Achara is something which is very common to Rajasthan
Yes,
and Odisha. We have all versions.
One thing which is the most favorite, which I really loved here, two things. One is sago, all kinds of sag,
varieties of sag.
and one is khata. So you go anywhere for any bhuji,
Khajuri khata.
khajuri khata, pineapple khata, this khata, that khata, some khata will be there. So that's.
So since you're vegetarian, that adds tang to your.
Yes.
Great. Now. You are a civil servant, and I have also noticed, a lot of friends have noticed that a lot of people have not getting into the UPSC or not trying, not only in the nationally. Odisha re agro, I mean, a lot of people, and Odia re bhi kahi pari je bahut loka agro, because amar ote chakri mentality achi Odisha bhitere, that job is the most important thing and business was not very important, or being entrepreneurs. So now we are also seeing that less people are giving the UPSC. We have Odias all over the country, in fact in the center as IAS and IPS officers, but less people are getting through and less people are giving. So what would you advise? I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but what would you advise?
See, I don't have any advice as such, but I can analyze the situation. One thing, of course, the top bureaucrats of the country even today, they are all a lot of people from Odisha.
Odisha, right?
But they entered into service in 70s or maybe 80s, right, like that kind of thing. Right. Those were the days when our area, my area, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, western part of the country, that was not much into education. Like I told, I am the first graduate in my family. Now education has spread. Those were the days when the western part of the country was for business, Rajasthan, Marwadis and Gujaratis and all that kind of thing. And eastern part, that is Bengal and Bihar and Odisha, they were known for giving bureaucrats. That has been now, that's not the situation now. Now people from Rajasthan and UP and other places also are coming in large number. So maybe the competition has gone up, one. Two, I remember places like Presidency College, Ravinshaw in Cuttack, Allahabad University, they were known places for producing bureaucrats, IAS, IPS officers. That center has shifted to Delhi now. Now, if you want to prepare for UPSC, people used to go to Allahabad or say
Patna,
the colleges, Calcutta and all. You go to Ravinshaw, you go to Presidency College, Allahabad University, and there is a more likelihood you get into bureaucracy. Now it is Delhi University, JNU and lot of centers, other places also. So it has been more democratic now, which is a good thing actually. Because of that, competition has increased. And these colleges, these institutions, known institutions, somehow they have lost that tempo, that quality has gone down. So maybe we have to look inwards and think about bringing Ravinshaw and those institutions to that level again, where you can produce that kind of thing. Third, I would say, those were the days when there were not many professions available. People, if anybody has graduated, he will think about a government job, IAS, IPS, state service, lecturership. But now there are many, many avenues. People like you, other people, you can go to creative field, you can go to, so many doctors. And IT, of course, IT, your Odia boys and girls doing so well in IT in Bangalore, in other places. So maybe there are more avenues now.
Right.
So people don't need to depend on that 2-3 things typical, that I want to become a doctor or an engineer or a bureaucrat or an officer. So there are more avenues. Right. The talent is going there. Not bad. It's a good thing. And lastly, I would say personally, I believe that these services, they are pretty overrated. Pretty overrated. You can be happy, or maybe you can be happier without getting into IAS, IPS. You can do better for yourself, for your state, for your country, for your family, even without getting into this. So I am not saying that becoming an IAS or IPS is bad thing. It is actually good thing. It gives you a lot of scope, lot of opportunity. But thinking that is the only way to do things or to achieve something is not correct. If somebody is not, like I can tell this to parents particularly, to parents. If your child is good at something, then allow him to do that. Don't force them to that tum IAS bano, IPS bano. If the person has inclination, then yes. But otherwise, kind of putting this into child's mind that you have to become an IAS officer is not the right thing. I'll not suggest that.
That's absolutely correct, and the legal fraternity also, we have professional courses, and everything has become quite lucrative. You can earn name, fame and money in many professions. But
my son told me that I don't want to get into UPSC, I want to become a lawyer.
Okay.
He is pursuing legal studies. Right. I said fair enough. तुम्हारा जो मर्जी है वो करो, अच्छा करो, that's all. My father told me अच्छा करो, I'm telling you अच्छा करो, that's all.
Wonderful. I mean, there have been so many firsts with you, like you're the first graduate of your family, and maybe, of course, the first civil servant from your family, and you have been a journalist, and you've been doing so many things, wearing so many hats. The natural question which a person like me would ask, and maybe your people who are your well-wishers, and we're talking about change leaders. Change leaders, we usually expect people who are on high posts, maybe could be also in the celebrity status or in the government. And especially politics. Now, coming to politics, I don't want to ask a very difficult question. Everything again becomes politics.
No, there is nothing difficult. There is nothing difficult.
It's without doubt you have people handling skills. I won't say political acumen, but amazing media acumen and You have had all the experience of handling politicians, bureaucrats, people, customers and all that. Have you ever thought, I'm sure you've been suggested, that maybe to take early retirement or post-retirement, which is quite a long way off, and become a leader as in politics?
Okay. See, I am telling you, because of my profile, because of my work, maybe because of the way I deal with people with lot of love and affection, this has been asked me in a few different ways, that whether I have any political ambition. I do not have. Honestly, I do not have any political ambition. I do not have any political plans. Only thing which I like about myself, I am pretty friendly. I am a friendly person. You know, when I go to a restaurant 2-3 times, the waiter or the salesperson, he becomes friend with me. Because I just go and talk, kya haal hai, kaisa hai, tumhara naam kya hai? You know, you talk anything, everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to tell about themselves. You talk nicely and people are happy. You ask about somebody's well-being, they are happy. It's so easy to make people happy. And you are not doing anything extra. Like you are having a cup of coffee or kya haal hai, tumhara kya haal hai, isme kya jata hai? So I am pretty friendly. Because of that, or because of my Twitter presence and all, it is suggested, it is thought. And some people actually think that I have a political ambition. I do not have any, honestly. I don't have any plan. I am retiring in 2028, 6 years plus more to go. Only thing I want to do good work and known as a good guy, a friendly person who was helpful and that kind of thing. Nothing, I don't think that there was any political plan ever, that I am doing this thing because I have a political plan. I am doing all these things because I love doing it. I am doing it because मुझे अच्छा लगता है. मतलब मुझे अच्छा लगता है तो अच्छा लगता है. That's all. There is no design or plan for that. But it is, you know, like India case. I did not plan India case. It happened. So मेरा ऐसा कुछ plan, I don't think I think I'll be happier retiring and going to Rishikesh and settling there maybe.
I will talk about your spiritual side also and a little bit of interest. We have a few more questions, but I must mention to our audience here and viewers that the kind of humble person Mr. Bothra is, in spite of all the acclaim and the kind of post he has held. He agreed once I said, because he has been sort of a mentor to us and mycitylinks in a lot of ways. He usually doesn't like to be face to face with media,
honestly.
But he has done this for us, and with so much patience. He has given us a lot of time on a Sunday evening. He is busy throughout the week, but this is also a job. I realize that if you don't speak to your fans, sometimes.
I know that exactly, son. It was. See, because the post I am holding, I make it a point to be away from the camera, away from media, because already I have so much of glare because of my Twitter and other things. So I don't really like it. Not that I like or don't like, but I think it's not, as I mentioned earlier, the focus should be on the organization, not on the person. But then you are Sanu Ratho, how can I say no to you?
Thank you so much. Now coming to your spiritual side, I mean, you are actually very, very spiritual, I know, because that can be seen and heard from the way you approach people. Your love for Bhagavad Gita is known to us. Do you follow the principles in your daily life, or it's just ingrained in you?
See, spirituality is very personal, as you know. It's very
and if I can just intervene, and your Twitter bio also had "wanna be a monk."
It's a very, it's a very personalized, very, very personal thing about spirituality. But because there have been things in my life which I feel that could only happen because of some grace of the God. One thing which again somebody might believe, might not believe, I have landed in the land of Lord Jagannath, not by chance. It must be some design by the God himself, that I got a chance to be here so close to the God. So I believe that because things have happened with me, that has again kind of made me more spiritual. But for me it's very personal thing. one thing which you asked me, which about the, yes, of course, Bhagavad Gita and some meditation and all these things, there I will not be very comfortable talking about that. But one thing which a spiritual principle you asked me, which I believe and I practice, and I would like to share with others also, the viewers. It's a Jain principle. I am a Jain actually by birth, though I am a practicing Hindu. There is hardly any difference between Hinduism and Jainism that way, by practice as you say. So I have been going to more of temples than going to Jain Sthanak and all these things. But one principle of Jainism is called Shadvad. Shadvad. Now from Shadvad the word comes Shayad. हम लोग बोलते हैं शायद ऐसा हो गया, शायद वैसा हो गया. That word comes from Shadvad. Now what is Shadvad? It says that everything has various aspects. Every fact or everything has various aspects. You might be looking at something. Perspectives. Right? I am giving you an example. There is a camera here. Now if I am looking at the camera, I am looking at the lens. That boy sitting behind the camera, he is looking from the back side. If you ask me tomorrow that how a camera looks like, I will be saying that camera looks like this. If you ask the same question him, he might be having some different person. He is not wrong. I am not wrong. We are both correct. But if I insist that camera is like this only, and I am the only person who is truthful, then it becomes a problem. That's the problem we are facing, we are seeing in the world today.
Everything is not in black and white.
We are sitting in front of the light. Now on his side there is no light. So if you are able to see various aspects of truth, so it says that truth has 7 aspects, the principle says. So of course it's a philosophical thing, it's a very detailed thing, but this particular thing helps us. It helps me as an officer, it helps everybody. So if you are looking at say there is a glass here, as I am repeating it, I can look from this side, he can look from this side, somebody can look from this side also, you can look from this side also.
Half empty, half full.
Right. So you can say that, okay, glass looks like this, glass looks like that, but actually glass looks like everything what everybody is saying. Right. So if you should not be very rigid, very kind of fixed about your ideas कि दुनिया ऐसी है और ऐसी ही होती है और ऐसी ही होनी चाहिए. That's a problem. So Shadvad gives me that kind of flexibility, freedom to look things from their perspective. Say he is looking at something which I might not be aware. I may be wrong. So if you start believing that I may be wrong, then things are easier, simple. If you say that I am right, that is also okay. But if you say I am only person who is right. I am right, others are not correct, that's a wrong. So Shadvad, it's very close to my heart. So I thought maybe I'll share this.
Yeah, absolutely, and that gives so much of perspective to people who are listening, viewers. Something on your interests. I have seen. I mean, देखिए जो आपनकर ओडिया तो भलो because we've been staying here and you managed to speak and in fact you spoke very well in public spaces. But your Hindi is also amazing, and we know you have a lot of interest in Hindi poetry and you follow Gulzar Saab and your thoughts about women empowerment are always seen on your social media or wherever you speak. So little about that.
Yeah, poetry I like. I don't talk about it again much in public space, but I am very fond of Hindi and Urdu poetry particularly. I have been a student of Hindi literature actually. I started, in my UPSC I had Hindi literature.
Oh really?
So because of that I have read a lot of books, not for UPSC but otherwise also. And for the people who are preparing for civil services and even not preparing for civil services, young kids, young children, I will say that read as much as you can. Padhna chahiye. That makes you very different. That makes you really, not that makes you better than others, but it makes you better than what you were yesterday. So padhna chahiye. I'll tell you one very interesting thing. In our college, we were, college we get that library card, all the students. So I also had the card. So that card you could only issue 2 books. You can take 2 books and you have to return, then you take new books. But I used to read a lot. So my teacher who used to love me, he gave me his card. And on a teacher's card you can take any number of books. There was no limit actually. So when I would go to my native place during vacations, so मुझे याद है मैं I will take 2 books on my card, and about 15-20 books on the card of my teacher.
Sir, I had also asked you about women's empowerment, which is also an interest of yours, and you have done a lot of work on that. If you can say something on that.
Yeah, there may be a reason because I come from Rajasthan. It's a very feudal society, and I can tell you with experience in Rajasthan and Odisha, the women of Eastern India are more progressive, more liberated, on a better footing as compared to West, my side. You know, Rajasthan, all this ghungat and all these things we have seen. I have seen in my childhood my dadima and even my mother having ghungat and all. So as a child also I used to feel bad about it, the way women were treated by the male folks. And when I got into a job like policing, which has direct responsibility to help women, so my support, sympathy, my empathy towards women is natural. Maybe because of my background, from geographical background. And of course, today, I am told sometimes on Twitter by men's right activists that I support women out of the way. I don't know, maybe they may be right, they may be wrong. I am not saying that I am supporting women who are doing bad things, but per se, overall, if you take the percentage, even today, people talk about 498A, that dowry related false cases. I totally agree that section has been misused by many. But other than that dowry related things, in our society, the common general treatment to women, is it really good? Can we say that women in India today are actually enjoying the same rights, same kind of status which men enjoy? The answer is no. So as long as the things are not at equal footing, people like me and people like who right thinking people should and must voice women's cause. That is what I feel. I may not be a feminist, but I'm a little close to that.
Of course, your English is so good, and you yourself have Hindi literature was one of your subjects. So Hindi has obviously been your interest. But as a professional, you came to Odisha and you had to obviously learn Odia, and that becomes part of your once you pass out, you have to know a bit of Odia. And last 20-25 years, ମୁଁ କହିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛି ଯେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଏତେ ଭଲ, ମାନେ ମଞ୍ଚ ଉପରେ ଠିଆ ହେଲେ ଆପଣ ଓଡ଼ିଆ ଭଲ କୁହନ୍ତି, ଆପଣ ଯେତେବେଳେ ମିଡ଼ିଆ ସହିତ କଥା କୁହନ୍ତି ଭଲ ଓଡ଼ିଆ କୁହନ୍ତି, ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଉଚ୍ଚାରଣ ବି ଭଲ. Lots of people have issues with pronunciation if they are non-ଓଡ଼ିଆ, but ଆପଣଙ୍କ ଉଚ୍ଚାରଣ pronunciation ବି ବହୁତ ଭଲ. ଏଇଟା କେମିତି ହେଲା? କିଛି ଆପଣ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରିଲେ ନା you have this natural sense of language?
ओके गोटे कथा आगे कहूँ आपन को आमर एकेडमी रे मसूरी एकेडमी रे कप आर देयर, मतलब उड़िया लैंग्वेज कप, तमिल, ऑल द लैंग्वेज कप्स आर देयर. सो से स्टेट रे जो पिला जाउछंती से मान को भितर से कंपटीशन हुए. एक उड़ीसा को 5 लोक आसिले कि 6 लोक आम आसिले, तो आम भितर से कंपटीशन हम कि से कपटा क्या मिल से उड़िया लोक को दिया जाए नहीं, से तो उड़िया लोक से उड़िया कह, तो जो नॉन उड़िया लोक थे आम से मुझे कपटा जीतली. ओके से सो बट अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट मु कटक रे मोर फर्स्ट पोस्टिंग है, एंड मुझे माने धन्यवाद कही क्रेडिट देवी सत्यजित महांती सर मोर एसपी थे से मुझे पाखे प्रोबेशनर थी. सत्यजित सर मत शिखाइले तुम गोटे कम कर तुमको सेमती ओडिया कहवाई बहुत झिझक हम माने टिके हेजिटेशन हम तो कौन कर जो वायरलेस हुए नहीं कि इस गाड़ी रे वायरलेस होता मोबाइल फोन नाला वायरलेस रे तुम ओडिया कथा हो कहीं आपण का सांगे सामना आमना सामने कथा हेले भूल भटका कले टिके आपण खराब लगे टॉकिंग टू वायरलेस गोटे वायरलेस रे कहले जना पड़ूनी आपण कौन कहते तो मुझे याडू साड़ू जा इंग्लीश ओडिया मिसा कहूली से शिखिली से बहुत शिखिली सर सर एक गोटे फॉर्मूला देते कि वायरलेस रे सब ओडिया कथा हम जल्दी शिखिज दुई है कौन हुए कि सानू आपण जिते आपण एमती भावतु गोटे अंग्रेज लोक गोटे इंग्लिश मैन और फ्रेंच मैन से भारत आसिकी इंडिया आसिकी ओडिया रे कि हिंदी रे कथा हम से भूल भाल हेले भी एवरीबडी विल इनकरेज कहीं से फ्रेंच लोक आसिकी एठी जहाँ आमर भाषा से चेष्टा करुच्ची कहवाई सेम जिनस मो सागर है मैं आज आसली एठी तो जहाँ संगे भी कथा हेली मु भल ओडिया कहली कि खराब ओडिया कहली जहाँ कहली एवरीबडी इनकरेज मी नहीं एटा भलो कहते यू आर ऑल्सो इनकरेजिंग मी तो से जो इनकरेजमेंट रे आउरी धीरे धीरे करके शिखी गली थर्ड है आमर चाकरी सेमती अच्छी आप अनुगुल एसपी हेली कोरापुट एसपी हेली सेठी आपन को भेटियापाई 100 लोक आसबे तांको भितरू 80% लोक हिंदी की इंग्लिश ना कही पारती तो आप कौन करेंगे आप तो जहाँ तो शिखिबे ना लोक धीरे धीरे शिखिज तो मुझे भी मोर बहुत है आउ गोटे कथा मुझे आपको जो मुझे मोर विशेषकर जो लोक नॉर्थ इंडिया आसछंती आपण कौन सब भाषा स्टेट को जीवे भाषा स्टेट माने जो स्टेट भाषा आधार रे जो स्टेट है माने ओडिशा कि आपण तमिलनाडु और आंध्रा और ऑल दो स्टेट्स से स्टेट रे लोकंकर जो हृदय जीतवाई सदेच्छा सद्भावना जीत गुडविल जीतवाई द बेस्ट ऑप्शन इज टू लर्न द लैंग्वेज आप भाषा जीतीगले शिखीगले 50% आपण से आपण कम हो गला माने आपण ओडिया रे कथा हैला माने लोक कहबा आम लोक अदरवाइज से फीलिंग आसीबो सबले बाहर लोक आमे हैला तो ओडिया शिखिबा एंड एटा समहाउ ठाकुर को पेपर गोटे नेचुरली आसला मुझे बेसी चेष्टा करनी कि आसला गोटे कथा आपको कहूँ एटा लोक जनाऊ नथिबे मु ओडिया केवल कहू नहीं मु ओडिया पढ़ी भी पारुछि आई कैन रीड ओडिया मु ओडिया पेपर पढ़ुछि और भलोर पढ़ुछि माने डेली सकाळे उठिकी ओडिया पेपर टिके टिके पढ़ुछु बहुत स्पीड ना पढ़ी पारे किंतु ओडिया पढ़ुछि एंड दिस लैंग्वेज ए जो हमरो ए स्टेट मते एते देछि ना माने कोन माने एटा तो जिते कहले माने कम होबो ए स्टेट मते कोन देइनी माने मोरो देखो लोक चाकरी आसुँच लोक चाकरी करके जाऊँच किंतु मोर इन माय केस एटा केवल चाकरी नहीं माने चाकरी छड़ा मते जो जो प्रेम जो सम्मान सत्रे मिली माने आई एम नॉट टेलिंग इट जस्ट बिकॉज आई एम टॉकिंग टू यू मो जीवन रे केबे भाभी नथिली कि एते मते स्नेह सम्मान मिलिबो ए चाकरी जोगु भी मिली और चाकरी छाड़ी के लोक जोगु भी मिली जो मैंने द काइंड ऑफ लव एंड अफेक्शन आई हैव आई टेल इट टू मेनी पीपल इट मे साउंड बोस्टफुल लगी मैंने गोटे अहंकार वाला कथा लगी पारे बट आई बिलीव दैट आई एम वन ऑफ द मोस्ट लव्ड ऑफिसर्स माने ऑब्वियसली माने आपनो दैट्स एविडेंट आई एम वन ऑफ द मोस्ट लव्ड ऑफिसर्स माने मु वर्तमान जाई कि सीसीडी रे बसुची कोडी बसुची लोक आसी कहउछन सर आपण अरुण बोथरा गोटे सेल्फी नेबी आपण संगे कैन यू बिलीव ए पुलिसमैन गेटिंग दैट काइंड ऑफ लव एंड अफेक्शन भगवान कौन दे ना कहीं यही धरती में तो सब दे धरती पर मुझे शिखी भी नहीं कहीं
ऑल द बेस्ट टू यू सर फॉर ओडिशा दैट आई मीन आपन धन्यवाद आपण ओडिसा लोक ओडिया लोक गणित हो आपण कमिंग बैक टू ट्विटर कैन ट्विटर हैज बिकम लिटिल इट्स बिकम अ सिम्बायोटिक रिलेशन आपन गोटे ट्वीट मु पढ़ी लिए आई जस्ट रेड अ ट्वीट few days back where you said my brief wish list and this must have I don't know which part of the day this you wrote that salary that I will get after 5 years health that I had 20 years ago free time that I had 40 years ago बस इतना ही ख्वाब है अपना लास्ट लाइन अपन सिलेक्शन किंतु आपण नंबरिंग करना एज प्रायोरिटी मु खाली गोटे सिंपल जे आपणकर सैलरी उसले 5 वर्ष पर जो सैलरी पाई विशिंग दैट हेल्थ जोटा 20 वर्ष आगु आपण पाखे थिला फ्री टाइम दैट आई हैड 40 इयर्स अगो सो प्रायोरिटी वाइज 1 2 3 करियो
इट्स ए ओके फ्री टाइम बिकज आज सी मु चाकरी आसवा पूर्व भी मु आई कम फ्रॉम ए गुड फैमिली आई कम फ्रॉम ए गुड फैमिली बैकग्राउंड तो पैसार सेमती किसी भगवान दयारू किसी अभाव आगुरी भी ना आज भी ना आई एम कंफर्टेबल दैट वे फादर और बिजनेस अच्छी भलो अच्छी किसी असुविधा नहीं हेल्थ इज ऑल्सो ओके इट्स नॉट ग्रेट ऑफ कोर्स बट ओके द ओनली थिंग आई मिस नाउ इज फ्री टाइम मैंने टाइम मिलू ही नहीं जमा मैंने आई रियली फील समटाइम्स आई फील स्ट्रेस यू विल नॉट बिलीव सॉरी समटाइम्स मोर खाइबा डब्बा मैंने जो लंच बॉक्स मु नहीं जाऊँ ऑफिस को सेटा रोची सेठी एंड आई एम हंग्री आई वांट टू हैव फूड किंतु करी हूँ नहीं मैंने असेंबली क्वेश्चन आसीगला ये फोन आसीगला हठात गोटे मीटिंग आसीगला आ से गोटे रिपोर्ट जीवार अच्छी सांगे सांगे विदिन 30 मिनिट्स सो आपनो से खाइबा डब्बा रही थी सेठी पड़थिबो आपनो से बसी रिपोर्ट पर से डब्बा को देखुथिबे रिपोर्ट करथिबे सो दैट्स हाउ इट इज एक्चुअली और टाइम आजिकली मिलू नहीं बहुत दैट इज द ओनली थिंग आई समटाइम्स आई फील स्ट्रेस्ड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वन थिंग ऑफ कोर्स मोर दीटा डिपार्टमेंट भी दीटा मो पाखे बड़ बड़ अच्छी गोटे क्राइम ब्रांच एंड गोटे जो ट्रांसपोर्ट किंतु जेते हेले भी मोर माने मोर से जो कहीं दीज टू थिंग्स आर गिविंग मी सो मच ऑफ अपॉर्चुनिटी वन आई टोल्ड रोड सेफ्टी आई एम वेरी पैशनेट अबाउट रोड सेफ्टी माने रियली रियली मुझे गोटे जिनस मत आप विश्वास करेंगे नहीं माने मुझे केतले मंदिर जाऊँगी अपार्ट फ्रॉम अदर थिंग्स विच आई विश फॉर माई फैमिली एंड माई सेल्फ आई एक्चुअली विश कि भगवान मत टे ए रोड सेफ्टी मोर एटा मोर एक्सीडेंट ओडिशा कमाई दिंतु मैंने आई एक्चुअली प्रे टू लॉर्ड people go and people pray in the temple about themselves so I also pray about my family my health my well being but other than that I actually pray in the temple कि भगवान मो टाइम रहिला बेले कि इवन मो परे हो पछे एक्सीडेंट कमी जाओ लोकों को जीवन बची जाओ सो दैट इज द पैशन आई हैव अबाउट रोड सेफ्टी दीज डेज सो से धारणा रे मु जेते परिश्रम पड़ू पछे मु ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट रे आई एम देयर कंटिन्यूइंग विद दैट एंड क्राइम ब्रांच ऑफ कोर्स मोर तो ने सबू अफसर मानकर सबू पुलिस अफसर मानकर अलग अलग स्ट्रेंथ थाए somebody is good at law and order, somebody is good at something, somebody is good at intelligence. You are from a police family, you know that. Somebody is good at finance and administration and planning. My strength has been crime detection, working against crime, catching criminals, detecting cases. So crime branch is something which gives me lot of professional satisfaction. तो से जो चली थी मैंने से जो निशारे जो कहती मैंने ना खाई की भी से निशारे चली छो.
We also wish and pray that आपनकर health और wealth सब बड़े भलो रहो. किंतु free time, if you are selfish followers of yours, you would say अपन के free time कम है, you do much more work. That's a sacrifice which you have given to the public life. And obviously personal life balance is very important, which you realize. Yes. That keeps your health also intact.
My family has been very supportive to me that way. They are very, very supportive always in my professional work. Late हेले भी ठीक है जानी छंती मैंने very, very, very supportive I must say. Both my wife and both my children.
Thank you so much and wishing them all the best. Thank you so much. It's personally and from
this
the
has been.
Thank you so much.
This is the first time I have spoken about such things and which I have never spoken with anybody.
This is content for our archive and maybe sometime we can help you in doing a biopic on yourself or a biography. Dhanyavad. We will thank all our viewers, our team members here. Most importantly, I just put an aside to this, we are on a Sunday late evening. In between the discussion here, Sir has asked his also juniors to come to the studio, and Sunday evening he'll also work little ahead. I'll take a free time, Jibo, but that's his job and he does it so well. We are privileged to have you again.
Thank you, Sanu. Thank you so much. Thank you.